Today's video sponsor is GVG Mall, bringing you all the software deals you need, like Windows 10, Windows 11, Office 2021 with a new Windows 11 design, and even Windows Server 2022. For all of these, you can use my SKG discount code for 25% off, getting a Windows 10 serial key for only $16. Then use the key on your Windows settings and you'll have an activated system. Hello guys, this is Gameplays, I'm Fabio Pisco and welcome to my channel for a new episode of PC Doctor, in this case the Season 1, Episode 3. And as you may have already noticed, we have this little guy here. This is my brother and he will kind of join us in this episode number 3, where we will actually, for a matter of entertainment, I changed a bit the structure of the episodes, and we'll see firstly people with real problems, and then we'll have 3 people in the end just for the show-offs of their builds, okay? So first people with problems, then the show-offs, so 4 guys with problems and 3 guys with show-offs, and that's how it will work. So the first one is Wojtek Glab. Hello, I have a problem with my GPU. When I'm playing Fortnite, everything works good, GPU usage is around 98% and FPS are high, but in Warzone 2 I get 110 to 130 FPS in 1080p with low GPU usage, 40% to 50%. The same story with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I set FPS to be 144, but my FPS are bouncing from 100 to 140 with 40 to 50% GPU usage. I updated AMD drivers and chipset drivers, turned on resizable bar and other BIOS settings. Also disabled ULPS in MS Afterburner, but still no results. CPU working CPU working on 50 to 60% in all games that I mentioned above. In older games, for example CSGO or League of Legends, my GPU and CPU both run at like 20-30% usage, with FPS dropping from 500 FPS at the beginning. It's beginning, he actually wrote it wrong anyway. From the beginning of the game, like 120-140 FPS, appreciate it, thank you. So the build is basically putting things to a normal thing, is basically a Ryzen 5 5600, some RAM that nobody knows of, so good RAM, which if the brand calls itself good RAM, it's because the RAM isn't good at all. That's how it usually works, because the guy, Wojtek, doesn't even know the frequency, or at least it doesn't specificate the frequency and timings here, so I will assume these RAM sticks are a piece of garbage. Anyway, SSD, blah blah blah. But yeah, do you know what this is? So low GPU usage across the board. So my brother knows a bit because I talk with him a lot, so let's see how it fares actually in this scenario. What do you think it is?
Well, it has a good GPU, good processor, but that RAM, my god, my guy, you don't even know the frequency of the RAM, nor the timings. that brand, Jesus.
My brother is a literal Russian speaking right now. I mean, it's my brother. It's the RAM. Anyway, yeah, basically this is a classic CPU and RAM bottleneck. You have and I know this because I actually had the 5600X and the RX 6800 non-XT, and I was actually running pretty good RAM at 37-33 MHz with tuned timings and sub-timings, and still I was being CPU and RAM bottlenecked, okay? The 6800 is more powerful GPU than people think, and this is what's really happening. Let's just watch the pictures. Okay, seems okay. So first one, the build, normal monitor, okay, with lights turned on, Logitech headset, Yoda, okay.
That little duck over there.
Yeah, the duck. And there's more the rabbit. These as well, the smartphone serving as a monitor or a video playback or something, the cooler, well the case is small. As for the RAM sticks, slot 2 and 4, well done. Okay, no exhaust fan on the top, but you actually have only two fans, like I would say 140 millimeters in the front, and then you have 120 millimeters in the back, which seems okay, completely okay to me. That's fine. You can actually add a 120 millimeters as exhaust on the top as well. It will work fine. Don't add the fan here on the front, just more on the back in order to not exhaust the cool air that enters the build, okay? Just more in the back. Another photo, and yeah, I guess that's what I have to say. Once again, this is a basic CPU and mostly RAM bottleneck. Just get a decent RAM, overclock the one that you have right now if you have to, but this is a classic CPU bottleneck, and that's why, because in games like CSGO and League of Legends, it is actually pretty normal that the GPU usage is low, because your CPU, even if you are running at, let's say, 500 FPS, your CPU and RAM combination aren't able to push more frames, and that's why the GPU is kind of sleeping, because the GPU would be able to push, let's say, 1000 1500 FPS if your CPU was able to push them as well, but your CPU isn't, and that's why the GPU is actually sitting at, let's say, 20, 30 or 40% usage, okay? And the fact that the CPU is just at, let's say, 50 to 60% all the times, it doesn't mean that you aren't getting bottlenecked, okay? Just because the CPU isn't at 100% doesn't mean you're not getting bottleneck. It just means that the applications that you're running aren't able to use the full potential of your CPU, sorry, but you're still being bottlenecked, for example, by the single core performance or the multi-core performance, okay? Or by the IPC itself, by your RAM. In this scenario, it's definitely the RAM, so get a better RAM or overclock the one that you want, and your FPS will skyrocket, okay? That's basically how it works, and that's basically your issue. The second email is from Eric Yulen Avila, sorry. Hello Ancient Gameplays, I saw your PC Doctor video and immediately wanted to write you about an issue with the new AMD graphics card that I have. I don't know if PC Doctor series is only for hardware or you are diagnosing software as well, but regardless, I need your help and I hope you are able to help with software issues as well. I am. So what happens is that on some games such as COD Warzone 2, here we go, and Resident Evil 2, some shadows look like crap and make other textures look grainy. Oh, this is actually interesting. The best thing that I can do is send you 2 videos that I made about the games. I already reported this to AMD with their bug report tool. Let's see what we have here. HD, quality. Yeah. And the main issue isn't actually with the textures here. It's more like with the beard with the filtering and the anti-aliasing as well. The shadows are also a little clunky. It's kind of odd because I tested several AMD GPUs on this game and I never had such issue. But maybe that has to do with your settings. Maybe. Yeah, you're showing the settings. Great. So first of all, you're running full screen borderless, which is already a turn off for me. Full screen borderless, man, just exclusive full screen to start with. Okay, now let's see the settings. So let's wait. So you have Fidelity FX CAS to actually do the sharpening, not upscaling. As for the anti-aliasing, you can try different settings because you have the T2X. Just try different settings of anti-aliasing because that may actually be the thing. Try to select, for example, the anti-aliasing quality to extreme or high. And as for, let me see more. Yes, texture filter anisotropic. So put this to the maximum settings that you can get because that also may be the fix. And this one as well, on-demand texture streaming, okay? If you have good internet, just use this one because the game may actually need more textures and you may need texture streaming on demand, and this option should be enabled, by the way, okay? So yeah, that may be the cause. I wouldn't say it is definitely the cause, but might be the cause. As for the clunky shadows, it may be due to this, because you basically have no screen space shadows and you have very low shadow map resolution. Okay, the grainy effect and the low resolution effect might not be it, but in terms of the clunky shadows, these... Yeah, I got it. That may be due to your settings, most likely due to your settings, because you have everything set to low and so on. But as for the anti-aliasing, I kind of advise you to use anisotropic and anti-aliasing to the maximum.
But wasn't he changing the settings?
He changed the settings, definitely. But he's not changing, okay, screen space shadows, particle lighting, ambient occlusion still off.
He applies that.
Let's see after that.
Still looks a bit grainy though.
Yeah, but the shadows are better. The shadows are a bit better, and that was due. But the thing is here, it seems like it's not anything to do with tessellation. Maybe, like I said, anti-aliasing, because it didn't change the anti-aliasing in the game. But it definitely seems like it. As for the second video, let's see the second video on Resident Evil. Yeah, it's the air. Look here. I don't know if this is actually the game, because I didn't play Resident Evil 2 Remake.
The air does indeed look a bit goofy.
Goofy.
Yeah, goofy.
Yeah, but that's the air effects. That's not the point. The shadows will look a bit clunky. Yeah, because they were on minimum. Okay, let's see the maximum settings now. Well, much better already. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's basically that grainy effect. But yeah, if basically you tried everything like driver updates and so on, there's not really much more that you can do. I do believe that you should do a clean Windows installation to begin with. And if the problem persists, at least on this game, I don't really know, but at least on Warzone 2, I really advise you to crank up those anisotropic and anti-aliasing settings, because that's a must, and something is very, very wrong here. Actually, Intel GPUs are the ones that usually have these issues, not AMD ones. But yeah, basically that's it. Anisotropic and anti-aliasing settings. If nothing helps, try a clean Windows installation. It might be some bug or something.
Well, he also has an overclock in his GPU. Maybe it could be due to that, but I don't know.
Yes, it also might be due to, for example, your overclocking not being perfectly stable. Or, I remember now, for example, Smart Access Memory, because Smart Access Memory in some games and some GPUs may mess a bit with the textures and other things. So try disabling Smart Access Memory, or even updating your motherboard BIOS and then enable Smart Access Memory once again and see if anything changes or not. That's what we can tell you. Now the third email is from Sir Lineoff Beef 001, and he actually has an Yahoo account. Account, not count, it's not like the Count Dracula. It's an account, and he has one. Who the hell still has an Yahoo account?
I don't know.
Hey Fabio, great stuff on your channel, and I always enjoy your yes. I didn't even I didn't even do on purpose see my broken English. Exactly when I was actually reading this, I broke. Anyway, my reason for sending this in: I can undervolt and OC my graphics card all day long. I pulled blah 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 on Time Spy, doesn't really matter. I have a budget motherboard and I'm not interested in changing it at this time. Yes, it doesn't want to actually undervolt or overclock the CPU, because the original one was for the i5-12400, okay? And then he got this, the 13600KF. But I mean, this motherboard isn't actually budget, because it's a Z690 Phantom Gaming 4. It's a good motherboard, and you can actually overclock and undervolt on this motherboard. The ones that you can't do it are with a B660, I believe. But the Z690, you can indeed overclock, undervolt the RAM, and so on, so on, so on. I don't understand the BIOS at all, so I'm not messing with anything other than the XMP for the RAM, and even the XMP can cause instabilities. Any help with the basics would be great. The specs are once again the ones that you're seeing in the screen. Basically the 13600KF, an VGA 1000 watts as well. Let's actually watch. Okay, 165 Hertz.
Your channel.
Yeah, my channel there. Nice. Okay, it seems like a nice build, at least aesthetically wise, because we have glass panel in the front, so basically very poor airflow most times.
But it does look cool.
Yes, it does look cool, yes. Definitely looks cool. The radiator in the top, doing basically exhaust. With the nitro, this card is just really, really beautiful. The nitro versions of the new 7000 series from AMD just look great. And this cooler is actually very good looking and it performs pretty well from what I've seen. I actually was gonna buy one, but I don't really like water coolers that much. On the back, very, very nice cable management as well. The cables are there. Cables through here, fans, 2 fans here, pulling air in. No, they're actually exhausting. Yeah, they're exhausting.
You're teasing me, you naughty naughty.
Oh, that's a bad thing. So basically, what's happening here is that you have one fan. You basically have one fan exhaust. Okay, just move a little bit more to here for the camera. So exhaust.
It's like exhausting everywhere. It doesn't make sense at all.
Damn. What you need here is basically exhaust intake. You have to actually turn the fan around in order to push, or in this case to pull air, cool air from here to push the cool air to your GPU, okay? And the same here, you actually have to turn the fans around in order to pull cool air from outside of the case, okay? And not the contrary. You're trying to just do exhaust everywhere and it won't work fine in terms of temperatures, okay? So this one is okay in exhaust, but these 3 fans, these 2 in the back and this one have to be turned around in order to be intake fans. The temperatures will be much better, believe me. So yeah, and I do believe that he put the fans everything exhaust because he wanted to see the RGB.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he wanted to see the RGB, but that just doesn't... It looks cool once again, but the performance-wise in terms of temperatures isn't very good. So once again, this, and these fans, just turn them around, intake, and you're good to go. Just one more thing, my brother actually pointed this out. He says, you actually say that you can't seem to undervolt your CPU, but you can. It's basically, if you have a Z690, you can indeed undervolt your CPU. You go to the BIOS, you select manual options, or at least not the extreme, but it's kind of the advanced or extreme options on your BIOS. Then you go to the voltage, you select override, and then you decrease the voltage, or for example fixed override or fixed voltage, and then you select the voltage lower than the one that you're seeing, for example, on WH-Info64 underload. And that's how you do it, how you undervolt it. But I'm 100% sure that you can indeed undervolt your 13600KF, okay? If you can't, just update BIOS, because that may actually fix it. Yeah. Hi AG, my name is João and this is my PC. The case doesn't really matter, but we have the Ryzen 5 27... The case doesn't really matter, but we have the Ryzen 5 2600X, we have the MSI 450M Pro Max, blah blah blah, and we have the RX 5600 XT with some ripped jaws, 16GB ripped jaws, 3200 MHz, seems okay as well. As for the PSU, Seasonic S12 III, 650 watts, also a good PSU. You actually have one of these on your computer.
Isn't mine S12 2 or 3?
3, I believe it's the 3. No, yours is the second one. This on this computer is actually the third one. So the issue. First of all, I would like to thank you for all your work and keeping us updated with the latest news and all your tests, benchmarks, tips, tutorials, and explanations. So I would like you to I would like to have your opinion on future upgrades I can do to my PC relative to the demand in most recent PC games like Hogwarts Legacy and the upcoming ones using Unreal Engine 5. Should I upgrade my CPU, for example, to a 5600X without changing motherboard and upgrade to a 12GB GPU so I can keep up, with the upcoming more demanding games? In your opinion, what would be the best overall? Okay, let's see the pictures first. So we have the monitor, we have the back of the computer. Okay, it's a normal build. Once again, slot 2 and 4, well done for the RAM. 2 fans intake, well, 3 fans exhaust. In terms of airflow, I don't advise to have only 2 fans here and then have 3 fans exhaust because you're actually going for a more negative pressure. The worst thing is that, for example, if you have this fan on the top, it is very close to the fans in the front. And what will happen is that it will exhaust the cool air that these fans are pushing through your computer. And you don't actually want that because you want that cool air to not be exhausted before going into the CPU, the GPU and all the other components. So what you want to do here in terms of airflow once again is to remove this fan because it isn't really necessary, okay? It's more noise and the temperatures will be worse. So use these fans will actually push or at least pull the cool air through your computer components, then go to the CPU, for example, cool off your CPU, cool off your GPU, and not be exhausted by this fan on the top, okay? So remove this fan and everything will be better, okay? Now it's fun to see a 2.5 hard disk here.
Is it a hard disk or an SSD?
Yeah,
It's
this
a
is
hard
not,
disk.
of
Yeah,
course,
yeah, okay.
it's not an SSD.
Yeah.
An SSD. First of all, it's not advisable to have a disk like this vertically, okay? It's not advisable. It will most likely break more easily with some vibrations, for example. It's not really advisable, but okay. As for the rest, it seems okay, the 5600XT. Now, as for your question, what should you upgrade first? Yes, you can keep the motherboard. And no, do not upgrade to the 5600X. If you want to actually upgrade your GPU later, focus on getting the best CPU that you can on your socket right now and get the 5800X 3D, okay? The best CPU in that socket, and it will last you for some years. As for the GPU, well, after you actually have the 5800X 3D, you can get a better GPU and the CPU will be more than enough for your needs. So that's what I advise you, basically. But I must tell you that a 5600X would already be a massive, and I repeat, a massive upgrade over your 2600X. Massive, in fact. But if you don't want to upgrade more times, you can just go with the 5800X 3D that in most scenarios is as good as the 7700X, even with DDR4. So I believe that's the way to go, and just forget about your motherboard. Keep your RAM, everything, way cheaper option and a very good option. And later, because you have the components that you need, just go and yeah, upgrade your GPU. Maybe to, let's say, what a used.
It depends on the resolution, for example.
Yeah, maybe a used card. The used market is really good right now, so that's an option. Maybe a used 3080, a used 6800 XT. That's my advice. Really cheap. They're really cheap right now.
If it's for 1080p gaming, you don't need anything much expensive, for example.
Much more expensive. Yes.
More expensive.
The thing is that, let's say, when you're buying a GPU, if you can buy it for 1440p now, but in some years it will be a 1080p GPU, because the performance will not increase over time usually, at least not that much, and the games get more and more demanding. So a 1440p GPU nowadays, like the 6800 XT, will be a 1080p in the future, 1080p GPU in the future. So it's better to have a little stronger GPU, even if you have to go to the used market, because it will last you way longer. That's, yeah, basically that's it. But my brother is actually right. Depends on what you want, basically. Resolution, gaming, let's say gaming objectives and so on. Basically that's it. Now as for the show off, we have another Portuguese viewer, which is André Dias. He actually wrote the email in Portuguese, but I will actually read to you in English, obviously. So, hello, good night, Fabio. Here's my PC. In this case, I don't want to change anything. It's just for you to show for your Ancient Gameplays community my gaming space. The PC is actually on the lateral part of the desk in order to have more space. My monitor is a Gigabyte M27QX. PC specs, basically the usual Lian Li, the O11D in white, the Asus ROG Strix B550A gaming, the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, sorry, and the RTX 4090 Supreme X. Excellent GPU, excellent CPU. And as for the RAM, we have the J-Skill Z Royale, RGB 32GB, DDR4 3600 MHz, I suppose something like CL18 maybe. And it looks very, very good. It looks very, very good, definitely.
Very clean, very minimalistic.
Yeah. These fans are actually very nice because these fans, the case is from Lian Li, and these fans are from Lian Li as well. And these fans need no connections, no power connections in order to be connected to each other. So basically, for these 3 fans that you have here, you have only 1 cable output. So in 3 fans, instead of having, let's say, 6 cables, because you have 1 cable for the RGB and 1 cable for the fan itself, you now have only 2 cables. 1 for the RGB and 1 for the fans. I do believe that's the case, and it looks very good. These fans basically just slide into the others and they will work just like that out of the box. It's really, really impressive. They're pretty expensive, but they're really, really good. And Lian Li was actually the first one to release fans like these. And we have more on the bottom, as you can see. You have kind of an infinity mirror here, and then you have different colors. These fans are really, really good looking.
Looks very cool indeed.
Yeah, and the color balance is also very good because we have the cyan blue and then we have the yellow. It just really has a good contrast. Yeah, very nice. The water cooler. The motherboard is also looking cool with a white shield, but I believe this is painted. Isn't this painted? It seems
so.
painted. Yeah, I actually know this motherboard. If it's the B550 from Asus ROG, this is painted. Yes, interesting.
But it looks cool.
Yeah, yeah. You won't really notice it actually. And then we have this behemoth of the Supreme X RTX 4090.
That is a beast, my guy.
Yeah, it's basically the same cooler as the 4080 that we have there. But
yeah, but the graphics card itself is a beast.
Yeah, it looks good, definitely. Yeah, the cables are also very nice, very clean, and the build itself looks great. Hogwarts Legacy.
I really like the colors.
Yeah, because there's a combination, there's a precise combination that we can use in terms of colors in order to make things look better. It's kind of a combination of colors. You have like the antagonist colors, the colors in the same spectrum, those things.
That yellow looks really warm. It looks very cool.
It's very cool. And then we have the icy effect of the blue. It's nice, actually. Yeah. Now with the lights on, it looks very nice. And yeah, looks great. Overall, great build, André Dias. Yes, great build. We love it. Very, very well done. Very well done. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, I agree.
Let us know in the comment section what you think, guys, about this build, because it's a very good looking build. I could have one of these on as my main computer. No issues. Looks great, performs great. Yeah, maybe a different motherboard because I need more Nvmes and so on, but overall in terms of performance and looks, great. Yeah. The second one is from Benjamin Roberson. Just replying to your YouTube post for builds. I just completed my first computer, don't really have any issues with it, but figured I'd send it and see what are your thoughts, sorry, what your thoughts are on everything pairs, on how everything pairs. The build is the i7-12700K, okay, the RX 7900 XT, an ASRock Z790, 32GB, 6000 MHz DDR5, once again a 1000 watts PSU. I don't really know why people need or feel the need of having 1000 watts PSUs. I mean, it's just not needed. Even a 750 watts a good 750 watts PSU will be more than enough. For example, my Corsair One, it even handles the 400 watts power draw of the 7900 XTX with no issues, alongside all the other components. You just need to have a very good PSU, but you don't need definitely 1000 watts. But once again, it's better to have more than less. Let's see the pictures then. Okay, the Meshify, Fractal Design Meshify. I always like these cases.
Yeah, it looks very cool.
Yeah, because they're kind of smaller in terms of height, but they are, the width is
and the pattern,
the length,
the
pattern in the front. Yes, it's
yeah.
basically Fractal Design that started with these cases, with these patterns, the polygon patterns.
I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, it looks cool. Looks cool. And we have a wait. Oh, it seemed like we had 2 more RAM sticks here, but no, it's just the cover.
It's just
because I was gonna say, like, it can't have those 4 RAM sticks there with a 12700K. It's not possible, because yeah, it would need to be like an HPET processor like the 5820X in order to have like quad channel and then have yeah, basically. Oh, we have the reference version here, the one that I tested as well. This case is actually bigger than it seems. I know that the angle of the camera is a little far off, but still it's bigger than it seems.
Still, it is large.
Yeah, it's large. The case it's large because I do have I'm looking at my case and it is very large. And this GPU is more or less the same length, maybe a little smaller, and it seems nice. Fans from Fractal Design, so intake, exhaust, because these ones are actually exhausting for the CPU. The fans here and the cables. Nice photo, by the way. The back of the computer, yes, with some wireless
antennas.
Yeah, some wireless antennas of the PCIe wireless receiver. Then good cable, by the way, or at least seems a good cable. Good cables, good HDMI, good DisplayPort cables are important, by the way. Okay, USB-C on the motherboard as well. Lots of USB type A 3 or 3.1 or 3.2. Nice. The fan looks good, actually. Once again, yeah, combination is good. I would actually just change the color of the cooler to white as well, since you have white cables and the case is white. But that's just in terms of aesthetics, because in terms of actually usability, it's not needed. I do heard that some MSI water coolers have some defects and the temperatures aren't what they should be, so just lay an eye on that. Also, we have that monitor controlling the CPU, GPU, and so on, which is nice, which is an added monitor showing the time, resources, and so on. It's actually nice. So RAM at 16%, HDD, even the HDD with a filled-in space of the HDD.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that's very nice. You can actually buy one of these cheap and do this and put one of these on your computer. It's not that expensive. It just gives you a little bit of work, but overall it's not that expensive. Yeah, and as you can see, the length of the case is actually okay. See the difference?
It's a pretty wide.
Yeah, it's
pretty wide.
It's a fan difference, maybe. We could almost put another GPU on the side, and it would almost fit. It wouldn't fit, but it would almost fit.
It does have a lot of space.
For example, the previous 4090 would be like here. That's a massive behemoth, maybe here. So yeah, but overall, it's a very, very good looking build, man. I wouldn't really change much. It is minimalistic, it looks good, black and white, no need for all those fancy shits. Looks great. Some cable extensions, just be sure to buy good cable extensions, because these can actually not provide the power that you need, and they may actually cause stutters and some things like that. But if you don't have those issues, you're completely fine. No, now this is nice.
Wow.
It's really build made to be a flight simulation machine, so that's pretty nice. We have all the handles here with a clear.
It seems expensive.
Very expensive. These things are very, very expensive. it look. Oh, even watch here. This is the control of the.
Yeah.
That's so nice. That looks very, very nice. It must be really, really realistic to play like this. And then we have the pedals here. Looks very nice. And then we have this. I don't really know if this is part of the build itself, in terms of the flight simulating machine or the flight simulation machine. But it seems to me, first of all, in the first place, it seemed to me like an amplification for the sound. Amplification. How do I say it? Amplifier. It's an amplifier for the sound, of course. But as I looked closer, it actually seems like something related to the flight simulation as well. But yeah, overall, even the cables they are very, very well done, routed here. We can actually buy these things on Amazon, and they are really, really useful, and they're cheap. So why not? I mean, really, really good looking. Simple, but at the same time very, very detailed and well done. The cable routing and so on, very, very nice. Awesome build, mates. Yeah, awesome. And the last one is once again from DJ Lim that we had on the previous video, but now just for a show off, because he actually showed the secondary build that he had with an AMD FX 8320, I believe. I don't have any issues, he says. However, the PSU connectors to the GPU is kind of funny, as can be seen from the pic. Cougar said it's single rail 12 volts and better for gaming, blah blah blah. So far, it's been solid. My wire management at the back ain't the best. Week ago I bought 2 more sticks of 3200 Kingston RAM and the PC was unstable, so I removed the newly installed sticks and now it's back to normal. Only after this I realized my board can't support 4 sticks of RAM at 3200. Wrong! Your motherboard can do it, and so does your CPU. Okay, both can do it. What you have to do is go to the BIOS and raise the RAM voltage, of course tweak the timings, loosen the timings a little bit more, raise the RAM voltage, and most importantly, raise the sock voltage. And I mean like raise it to, let's say, 1.15 volts, and it will definitely work, okay? It will, unless your RAM sticks are really, really bad, because otherwise it will work flawlessly. As for the pictures, well, we have the Pulse 5700 XT. It seems that the case is kind of small, at least in terms of height.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It isn't that tall. It has some space here in the top, which is good for putting some more fans to actually routing the cables. But in terms of space there, and we actually have, this is,
I think that's
sound card, maybe?
Card, yeah.
That's a sound card.
That's pretty uncommon nowadays.
Yeah, that's pretty uncommon. Yeah, the ASRock steel, and then we have the audio card. Very nice, actually. Oh, it's kind of yeah. The thing here, here's the thing. You don't have fans here. You don't really have fans in the front. You have poor airflow, but that's all. Maybe getting a new case when you have the money with mesh in the front to actually put cool air inside your build, because apart from that it seems okay, but that's it. So no intakes as well. It looks okay, but it won't perform that great. So looks and performance aren't most of the times on the same picture, okay? If you want performance, you can't have looks and vice versa. But now recent cases actually have looks and performance, so I do advise you to get a mesh case because it will perform much better. As for the cable routing, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, people won't be looking at the back of your case like, yeah, this is your computer, let me see the cables. It just won't happen. It just won't happen. I mean, that's a normal thing. It's to be closed. I have some builds like this, I won't lie. My main builds are way more efficient in this department, but overall my builds are like this because I just don't care about the back. The cables are there, everything in the front is looking great, so nice. Oh, I like this keyboard. Actually, we were seeing this keyboard, like we were watching this keyboard like yesterday or 2 days ago.
I don't think it was the same keyboard, but
I believe it is. It's the G500 and no, the 213.
At least it didn't have the.
Yeah, this part it did have. The 213 did have. Let me see. Yes, G400 and G213. Yes, I knew this was the keyboard. I didn't even see this, and I knew. from the looks. Yeah, so it looks good.
I do really like the keyboard looks. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, you have the palm rest as well, but
and it doesn't let the light escape too.
yeah, the bleed. It's called bleed, light bleed.
Yeah.
The light doesn't bleed out. That's okay. The only if it's that it's not mechanical, but otherwise it's great. As for the G402, it was an awesome mouse for the price. That's why people bought it back then. This part is really, looking into this perspective, it looks actually pretty nice. We have, look at this, we have palm rests. See what I told you before? We have kind of palm rests to not mess around with the wrists. Then we have a support for the headset and for the Xbox controller as well. It looks pretty cool. Won't lie, it looks pretty cool. Also for the simulators as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the aviation simulator.
Yeah.
Flight simulator. Also another one here. Trustmaster. Yeah. But on this perspective, it actually looks cool. And the case here doesn't seem white. It seems like bluish, which is nice. Maybe the reflection, maybe not. But it looks nice. The overall aspect of the build looks nice. So we have the controller here as well, which is the power controller, the power unit from the monitor.
We also don't see many cables hanging around, so it's very clean.
Yeah, and we have the palm rests. This is actually interesting, and then the support for these, which is actually uncommon and pretty nice to see. Pretty nice to see, yeah. Always tempted to send photos of the third rig, which is a Phenom 2 X4 965. Yes, do it.
That's really interesting.
Do it.
A Phenom in 2023.
Do it. But it's okay. It seems okay for me. Besides the air intake and so on, the build looks great for me. I really like the overall look and the overall feel of the build here. It looks pretty nice as well. Thanks for sending the build, and hope you enjoyed this episode. And well, guys, that's all for today's episode. Don't forget, if you want your build to appear here, or if you want to solve some issues that you might have, just go to agpcdoctor it's called that, the arroba, at gmail.com. So send your pictures there, your dots there, and I will try to put them inside the next episode of PC Doctor, which will most likely be in 2 weeks or maybe 1 month. Let's see how this episode goes. If it goes well, maybe 2 weeks. If it doesn't go that well, maybe 1 month. I don't really know. And yeah, guys, basically that's all for today's episode. The battery is running out. The camera is very hot, so it needed to restart. So yeah, here's my brother, Xavier. I'm Fabio Pisco. This is PC Doctor. And the next episode will be, like I told you before, in 2 weeks, or 1 month, or maybe in the end of my life.
You teasing me, you naughty naughty.
Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next episode.